The sky above Neo Elysium never truly darkened. Even at midnight, the city's towering spires pulsed with neon advertisements, holographic billboards that stretched hundreds of meters into the air, selling the most precious commodity of the late 22nd century: memories. Liu Kamin stood on a narrow balcony of his rented apartment, 30 floors above the memory market district. Rain fell in sheets, distorting the kaleidoscope of lights below. He watched people scurrying between market stalls, their translucent memory shields glowing faintly above their heads, a visual indicator of how much mental storage space they had available for sale or trade. Another night, another forgotten day, Min whispered to himself, running his fingers over the intricate neural interface port at his temple. The small device, no larger than a coin, pulsed with a soft blue light. It was the standard model. Nothing fancy, just enough to participate in the memory economy without risking cerebral damage. As a memory archaeologist, Min made his living by diving into abandoned memory banks, extracting fragments of forgotten lives, and selling them to collectors. It wasn't glamorous work, but it kept him alive in a world where the wealthy traded memories like currency, and the poor sold pieces of themselves to survive another month. Min's communicator buzzed. He glanced at the holographic display that materialized above his wrist. A message from an anonymous client. Rare excavation opportunity. High risk, higher reward. Market quadrant B7, 1 hour. He sighed, knowing he should ignore it. Anonymous clients were dangerous in the memory trade, but his bank account was nearly empty, and his rent was due in 3 days. With resignation, he grabbed his weathered leather jacket, specially lined with neural dampeners to prevent unauthorized memory scans, and headed toward the door. Neo Elysium's memory market buzzed with activity despite the late hour. Street vendors had set up makeshift scanning booths, where tourists could briefly experience exotic memories for a few credits. Min navigated through the crowd, dodging the persistent sellers who recognized his archaeologist gear. "Fresh memories from the Martian colonies," one called out. "Experience the thrill of the zero-gravity gardens, without leaving Earth." "Childhood recollections from pre-war Singapore," offered another. "Guaranteed authentic, emotion intact." Min kept his head down. The memory trade had started innocently enough, a technological breakthrough, allowing the temporary transfer of episodic memory between compatible neural interfaces. But it had quickly evolved into something darker. The wealthy began purchasing happy memories to replace their traumas. Political leaders bought expertise rather than earning it. And eventually, scientists discovered that absorbing certain types of memories could slow aging, extending human lifespan dramatically. That discovery had transformed everything. Suddenly, memories weren't just commodities. They were the key to immortality. And where there was immortality, there were always those willing to do anything to obtain it. Quadrant B7 was one of the older sections of the market, filled with analog stalls rather than the sleek digital shops that dominated the main thoroughfares. Min spotted his contact immediately, a hunched figure in a gray cloak, standing beside a defunct memory terminal. "You're the archaeologist?" the figure asked as Min approached. "Depends who's asking," Min replied cautiously. The figure pulled back their hood slightly, revealing the face of an elderly woman with implants running along her jawline. Memory tech from at least 20 years ago. Outdated but still functional. "I represent a collector interested in very specific memories," she said, her voice barely audible above the market noise. "Core memories." Min stiffened. Core memories weren't just rare. They were illegal to trade. Unlike standard memories, which contained experiences and knowledge, core memories housed fundamental aspects of personality, identity, and consciousness. Trading in them was equivalent to trafficking in human souls. "I don't deal in cores," Min said firmly, turning to leave. 5 million credits, the woman whispered. Min froze. That amount could set him up for years. Maybe even buy him passage off Earth to one of the orbital colonies, where memory trading wasn't so predatory. "What exactly are you asking me to do?" he asked, against his better judgment. The woman smiled, revealing teeth too perfect to be natural. "There's a shipment coming in tomorrow night. Memory containers from Zeta Corp's private research division. We have reason to believe they contain core memories extracted from subjects without consent. My employer wants proof." "Zeta Corp?" Min's voice rose in alarm. "They're the largest memory corporation in the hemisphere. Their security is legendary. Hence the 5 million credits," the woman replied. "All you need to do is access their shipment manifest, confirm the contents, and extract a small sample. My employer will handle the rest." Every instinct told Min to walk away. Zeta Corp wasn't just powerful. They practically owned Neo-Elysium's government. Crossing them was suicide. But 5 million credits. "I'll need specialized equipment," Min said finally. "And an escape route." The woman handed him a small data chip. "Everything you need is on here. The shipment arrives at the Central Memory Bank at midnight tomorrow. Don't be late." Before Min could ask further questions, the woman dissolved into the crowd, leaving him alone with the chip and a growing sense of dread. Back in his apartment, Min examined the data. The chip contained detailed schematics of Zeta Corp's security systems, patrol schedules, and most importantly, the location of the incoming shipment. This wasn't just good intel. It was insider information. Someone at Zeta Corp was involved. As he scrolled through the files, a notification appeared on his communicator. The rent on his neural storage space was overdue. Without payment, his personal memories would start being compressed, eventually degrading until they were lost completely. It was the ultimate threat in a memory-based economy. Pay or forget who you are. Min closed his eyes, massaging his temples where his neural interface connected to his skull. He didn't have much choice. One job, he told himself. One dangerous job. And then he could start fresh. The next night, Min crouched on a maintenance platform overlooking Zeta Corp's private docking bay. Rain continued to fall, providing useful cover as he adjusted his scanning equipment. The shipment had arrived precisely on schedule, a reinforced hover container escorted by armed guards. Using a specialized lens, Min could see the memory shields around each guard's head, top-of-the-line models that would be impossible to hack remotely. He waited until the container was moved inside before making his move. Using the maintenance shafts described in the schematics, he navigated through the building's infrastructure, bypassing the main security systems. His neural interface was temporarily disconnected, a risky move that left him feeling disoriented, but necessary to avoid detection by Zeta Corp's neural scanners. The shipment had been moved to a high-security storage room. 2 guards stood at the entrance, their posture indicating enhanced memory reflexes, probably ex-military with combat memories purchased from elite soldiers. Min would never get past them directly. Instead, he accessed a ventilation shaft that ran above the storage area. Through a small grate, he could see the container. It was being scanned by a technician in a white lab coat, while another employee logged the contents into a secure terminal. Min activated his directional microphone. "Quantity confirmed. 12 core memory units. Grade A stability," the technician said. "Subject origins as listed. 6 from volunteer program, 6 from special acquisition." "Don't put that in the official log," the other employee warned. "Just mark them all as volunteer-sourced." Min's blood ran cold. Special acquisition was industry euphemism for memories taken without consent, either purchased from desperate people who didn't understand what they were selling, or worse, forcibly extracted. He waited until the employees left before carefully removing the ventilation grate. Using a specialized tool, he descended silently into the storage room. The container was sealed with a biometric lock, but the data chip had provided a bypass code. Min entered it carefully, and the container hissed open. Inside were 12 cylindrical memory storage units, each glowing with a soft white light. Each unit could contain a person's entire core identity, everything that made them who they were. Min selected one labeled Special Acquisition Number 3 and connected a portable scanner to analyze its contents. What he saw made him gasp. The memory wasn't just a core, it was pristine, completely intact, containing the entire consciousness of a young woman. The date stamp indicated it had been extracted only 3 days ago. This wasn't just illegal trafficking, this was essentially murder. Without their core memory, the original person would be left as an empty shell, technically alive, but without personality, memories, or sense of self. Min quickly disconnected his scanner, but as he did, an alarm blared throughout the facility. Someone had noticed the unauthorized access to the container. He had seconds before security would lock down the entire building. Making a split-second decision, Min grabbed the memory unit and ran for the ventilation shaft. He could hear guards shouting as he pulled himself up. By the time he reached the maintenance tunnels, the building was in full lockdown. Emergency barriers began sealing sections of the facility, nearly trapping him twice before he managed to reach an external access point. Emerging onto a narrow ledge 30 stories above the ground, Min faced a terrifying choice: jump to an adjacent building across a 6-meter gap, or face Zeta Corp security. With the stolen memory unit secured in his jacket, he took a running leap. For a moment, he was airborne, rain pelting his face. Then he crashed onto the neighboring rooftop, rolling to absorb the impact. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he forced himself up and kept running. Behind him, security drones were already launching from Zeta Corp's building, their searchlights cutting through the rain. Min needed help, and there was only one person in Neo Elysium with the skills to hide him from Zeta Corp's reach. He headed for the Undercity, where the neon glow of the memory markets couldn't penetrate and the Forgotten lived in shadows. The Undercity existed in the spaces beneath Neo Elysium's towering structures, a maze of abandoned construction zones, maintenance tunnels, and forgotten infrastructure. Here, people lived off the grid, many of them victims of memory extraction who had lost too much of themselves to function in society. Min made his way to a converted power substation that now served as a clandestine tech hub. The entrance was unmarked, protected by sophisticated surveillance that would detect Zeta Corp security long before they arrived. He knocked in a specific pattern and waited. A small panel slid open, revealing a pair of eyes enhanced with cybernetic implants that glowed faintly in the darkness. "I need to see Xiaobing," Min said urgently. "She's not taking visitors," the doorkeeper replied. Min held up a cred stick. "Tell her Lu Min has something she'll want to see." The panel closed, and for a tense minute, Min feared he would be left in the rain with Zeta Corp drones hunting him. Then the door slid open, revealing a narrow corridor lined with makeshift memory tech, scanners, storage units, and modification equipment that would be highly illegal in the upper city. At the end of the corridor sat a young woman surrounded by holographic displays. Her fingers danced through the air, manipulating data streams with practiced precision. Without looking up, she spoke. "The famous memory archaeologist graces my humble workshop. What trouble have you gotten yourself into this time, Min?" Xiaobing was Neo Elysium's premier memory hacker, a genius who could break into any secured memory, decrypt it, and extract information that no one else could access. She was also the only person Min trusted with something as dangerous as a stolen core memory. "I need you to hide me from Zeta Corp," Min said, catching his breath. "And I need you to analyze this." He carefully removed the memory unit from his jacket. Bing finally looked up, her cybernetic eyes zooming in on the cylinder. She froze, then quickly closed down all her displays with a wave of her hand. "Are you insane?" she hissed. "That's a core memory unit. Do you have any idea what Zeta Corp will do to get that back?" "I know exactly what they'll do," Min replied grimly. "That's why I need your help. This wasn't voluntarily donated. Bing. They're extracting cores from unwilling subjects. Bing's expression hardened. She'd seen the consequences of the memory trade's dark side firsthand. She served as an unofficial healer for those who had lost too much of themselves to predatory memory traders. "Fine," she said after a moment. "But this puts us both at risk. Zeta Corp doesn't just control memories. They control the city." She took the cylinder and connected it to a specialized reader, one far more sophisticated than Min's portable scanner. As data began streaming across her displays, her expression changed from concentration to horror. "This isn't just a core memory," she whispered. "This is pristine, complete. The subject's entire consciousness, including autonomic neural patterns. Whoever this was taken from is essentially dead, a breathing body with no mind." "Can you tell who it belonged to?" Min asked. Bing worked for several minutes, bypassing security protocols and encryption layers. "Young woman, early 20s. Name: Lin May. She was a graduate student at Neo Elysium University, researching alternative memory storage techniques." Bing looked up, her eyes wide. "She disappeared 3 days ago. There's a missing person report in the city database." Min felt sick. "They're not just trafficking in memories, they're kidnapping people." "It's worse than that," Bing said, continuing to analyze the data. "There are markers here I've never seen before. Genetic timestamps, proprietary coding sequences. Zeta Corp isn't just storing these memories. They're using them for something specific." Before Min could respond, an alert sounded from one of Bing's security monitors. "Zeta Corp security forces are entering the Undercity," she announced. "Full tactical teams with memory scanners. They're looking for their property." "How much time do we have?" "An hour. Maybe less," Bing replied, already disconnecting the memory unit. "We need to move. I have a safe house in Sector 17, but we'll need to take the old subway tunnels to avoid the scanners." As they gathered essential equipment, Min's communicator buzzed. It was a public news alert. "Dangerous memory terrorist at large. Zeta Corp reports theft of experimental medical memories. Suspect Liu Ka-min, considered armed and unstable due to memory contamination. Citizens advised to report sightings immediately." "They're framing you," Bing said, looking over his shoulder at the alert. "Memory contamination is a serious charge. It means they can shoot on sight, claiming you're a danger to others." Min switched off his communicator. "They move fast." "They have to," Bing replied, shouldering a backpack filled with hacking tools. "If anyone discovers what they're really doing with those core memories, their entire operation would collapse." They slipped out through a hidden exit that led to the abandoned subway system that had once served Neo Elysium before the elevated maglev trains had replaced it. The tunnels were dark and partially flooded, but they offered safe passage away from Zeta Corp's scanners. As they waded through knee-deep water, Bing asked, "Who hired you to steal this memory, anyway?" "An anonymous client," Min admitted. "Elderly woman, outdated implants. Offered 5 million credits just to confirm the shipment contents." Bing stopped walking. "Describe the implants." When Min did, she cursed. "That's Dr. Van Leeuw's signature work. She was Zeta Corp's lead memory researcher before she disappeared last year. Everyone thought she was dead." "You think my client was Dr. Van Leeuw? Why would a Zeta Corp scientist hire me to steal from her own company?" "Ex-Zeta Corp," Bing corrected. "And if she's involved, this goes deeper than illegal memory trafficking. Van Leeuw was researching immortality through memory transfer before she vanished." They continued through the tunnels in tense silence, eventually emerging in a different district, far from the Undercity. Bing led Min to an unassuming apartment building, using a series of security bypasses to enter without triggering the building's systems. Her safe house was small, but well-equipped with advanced technology, much of it custom-built. She immediately set up a signal jammer to prevent any tracking and connected the stolen memory unit to a more powerful analysis system. "We need to understand exactly what makes this core memory so valuable to Zeta Corp," she said. initiating a deeper scan. Standard procedure would be to erase our trail and return the memory. But if they're kidnapping people for their cores, we can't let that continue, Min finished. But we need proof that will stand up against Zeta Corp's influence. They practically own the city government. As Bing's system analyzed the memory unit, Min searched for information about Lin Mei, the student whose consciousness was now contained in the cylinder. He found her academic profile, social media accounts, family connections, all the digital footprints of a normal young woman whose life had been stolen. "I've got something," Bing announced after an hour of work. There's a hidden directory in the memory architecture, encrypted separately from the main consciousness data. It contains research notes, Lin Mei's own work on memory storage. She was developing a method to store memories without neural degradation. "Why would that make her a target?" Min asked. "Because the current immortality treatments using memories have a fatal flaw," Bing explained, displaying complex neural diagrams. After multiple memory transfers, neural pathways begin to degrade. The wealthy can extend their lives by decades by absorbing others' memories. But eventually, the system breaks down. If Lin Mei found a solution, then Zeta Corp could offer true immortality to those who could afford it. Min realized. An endless supply of perfect memories. No degradation. No limits. "Exactly," Bing nodded. "And based on the security around this core memory, I'd bet she succeeded." A notification appeared on one of Bing's monitors. Someone's searching for information on Lin Mei across all Neo-Elysium networks. They're tracking anyone accessing her data. "Zeta Corp?" "No," Bing said, surprised. "The search pattern is different. Someone else is looking for her too." Before they could investigate further, an incoming communication request flashed on Bing's secure system. The sender was listed only as V.L. "Dr. Van Le," Min said. "Should we accept?" Bing hesitated, then nodded. "But I'll route it through scramblers. They won't be able to trace us." A holographic projection appeared above Bing's main console, showing the elderly woman Min had met in the market. She looked more haggard now, her eyes darting nervously. "You took more than just a sample," she said without preamble. "You've put yourself in grave danger. Archaeologist." "Not as much danger as Lin Mei," Min replied coldly. "The woman whose mind is trapped in this cylinder." Dr. Van Lo's expression tightened. "So you've identified her. You're more resourceful than I anticipated. Is Xiaobing helping you?" Bing stepped into view of the projection. "Hello, Doctor. Reports of your death were obviously exaggerated." "Necessity, not choice," Van Le replied. "When I discovered what Helena Zeta planned to do with my research, I had to disappear." "Helena Zeta, the CEO of Zeta Corp?" Min asked. Van Le nodded grimly. "She's not just trafficking in memories for profit. She's preparing for what she calls the Ascension, a process to transfer her consciousness permanently into a network of core memories, achieving a form of distributed immortality." "That's impossible," Bing interjected. "The human consciousness can't sustain itself across multiple memory units." "It was impossible," Van Le corrected. "Until Lin Mei's breakthrough, the girl solved the neural degradation problem that had stumped researchers for decades. With her technique, a consciousness could theoretically spread across multiple hosts without deterioration." Min felt a chill run down his spine. "So, Helena Zeta is harvesting core memories to create what? A network of human hard drives to house her immortal consciousness?" "Precisely," Van Le confirmed. "The first phase involves 12 core memories, 12 people killed to create her foundation. Lin Mei was taken because she created the solution. The others were selected for their neural compatibility." "And you want us to stop her," Bing said. Not a question, but a statement. "I want you to help me destroy everything," Van Le replied, her voice hardening. "All my research, all the extracted memories, the entire program. I created this monster by developing the initial memory transfer technology. I need to end it." Why not go to the authorities? Min asked. Van Le laughed bitterly. The authorities are all memory-enhanced with Zeta Corp technology. Many have extended their lives using Helena's products. They won't bite the hand that feeds them immortality. A warning flashed across Bing's security display. We have company, she announced, pulling up surveillance feeds. Zeta Corp security, approaching from multiple directions. They've found us. How? Min demanded. Van Le's holographic image flickered. I'm sorry. They must have traced my communication despite the scramblers. Helena's technology is more advanced than I realized. We need to move, Bing said, already disconnecting her equipment. There's an emergency exit through the building's waste disposal system. Take the memory unit to these coordinates, Van Le said quickly, transmitting data to Bing's system. It's my hidden laboratory. I have equipment there that can decrypt the full contents of Lin Mei's research. It's our only chance to stop Helena. The holographic projection cut out as the building's power fluctuated. Zeta Corp security beginning their breach protocols. Min grabbed the memory cylinder while Bing collected her most essential tools. This way, she said, sliding aside a panel in the bathroom floor to reveal a narrow passage. The disposal system connects to the city's underground recycling network. We can use it to reach the industrial district. They had barely closed the panel behind them when they heard the crash of Zeta Corp forces breaking into the apartment above. The disposal chute was cramped and foul-smelling, but it carried them safely away from the immediate threat, depositing them in a massive sorting facility for the city's waste. As they navigated through the automated recycling systems, Min asked, Do you trust Van Le? Not entirely, Bing admitted. She helped create the memory trade that's destroyed so many lives. But right now, she's our only ally against Zeta Corp. And if she just wants Lin Mei's breakthrough for herself, to create her own version of immortality? Bing was silent for a moment as they ducked beneath a conveyor belt, carrying sorted plastics. Then, we'll stop her too. But first, we need to understand exactly what Lin Mei discovered. They emerged from the recycling facility into Neo-Elysium's industrial zone, a stark contrast to the gleaming towers of the city center. Here, massive factories processed raw materials into the technology that powered the memory economy. Fewer surveillance systems meant they could move more freely, but it also meant less protection from Zeta Corp's hunters. Van Le's coordinates led to an abandoned research outpost on the outskirts of the industrial zone, a small facility that had once tested experimental memory storage devices before being decommissioned. From the outside, it appeared derelict. But when Bing bypassed the hidden security systems, they discovered a fully functional laboratory within. She's been busy, Min observed, taking in the advanced equipment that filled the space. This tech is beyond cutting edge. Because it's not on the market yet, Bing replied, examining a neural interface unlike any Min had seen before. This is prototype technology, probably stolen from Zeta Corp when she fled. They connected Lin Mei's memory unit to Van Lu's specialized analysis system. Immediately, the laboratory's displays came to life, showing neural pathways, memory structures, and code sequences of extraordinary complexity. This is it, Bing whispered, her eyes wide as she reviewed the data. Lin Mei actually did it. She found a way to create perfect memory transfers without degradation. The technique involves quantum entanglement at the neural level, linking memories across multiple storage units while maintaining perfect synchronization. In plain language, Min asked, she figured out how to make copies of memories that remain connected to each other. Bing explained. Change one, and they all change. It solves the degradation problem because the memories constantly refresh and stabilize each other. And Helena Zeta wants to use this to spread her consciousness across multiple memory units. Min concluded. To become a networked being. Not just multiple units, came a voice from the laboratory entrance. Multiple bodies. They turned to see Dr. Van Le standing in the doorway, looking more frail in person than in her holographic projection. Behind her stood a small group of people with neural interfaces similar to the prototypes in the lab. Helena doesn't just want immortality, Van Lay continued, entering the laboratory. She wants to become a collective consciousness, inhabiting multiple bodies simultaneously, a human hive mind, with her as the queen. And these people? Min asked, gesturing to Van Lay's companions. Victims of earlier experiments, she replied sadly. They volunteered for a memory enhancement but had their cores damaged in the process. I've been trying to repair what Helena broke, with limited success. One of the damaged individuals stepped forward, a middle-aged man with vacant eyes. I gave Zeta Corp a memory of my wedding day, he said, his voice monotone. They took everything. I don't remember being married at all now. Van Le connected herself to the analysis system, reviewing the data from Lin Mei's memory unit. It's worse than I feared. Helena has already begun the integration process with the other 11 core memories. We have less than 48 hours before the ascension is complete. What happens then? Min asked. She'll transfer her consciousness into the network of cores, becoming a distributed entity that exists across multiple platforms simultaneously. With Lin Mei's breakthrough, she could potentially live forever, constantly refreshing her consciousness through new cores harvested from unwilling subjects. How do we stop it? Bing demanded. Van Lay pointed to a complex diagram on one of the displays. The integration is happening at Zeta Corp's main facility, the memory core at the center of their headquarters tower. We need to infiltrate it and disrupt the process before it completes. More importantly, we need to free the consciousnesses trapped in those memory units. Zeta Corp Tower has the tightest security in Neo Elysium, Min objected. After what I did, they'll be expecting us. Not if we have help from the inside, Van Lay said. I still have contacts within Zeta Corp, people who don't know Helena's true plans. One in particular may be willing to assist us. Memory Officer Zhang Hao. Can he be trusted? Bing asked skeptically. He was my student before I joined Zeta Corp, Van Lay explained. He believes in the ethical application of memory technology. When he discovers what Helena is doing, he'll help us. As they began planning their infiltration of Zeta Corp Tower, Min found himself drawn to Lin Mei's memory unit. The soft white glow seemed to pulse with life, because it was life. An entire person reduced to data storage. How many others had suffered the same fate in humanity's quest for immortality? The plan they developed was dangerous and complex. Van Lo would use her old access codes to get them into the lower levels of Zeta Corp Tower. From there, Memory Officer Zhang Hao would escort them to the central memory core, posing as authorized researchers. Bing would hack the security systems to prevent automatic lockdowns, while Min would extract the core memories from Helena's integration network. What about Zeta Corp's memory assassins? Min asked during their planning session. They'll have at least 2 guarding the memory core. Memory assassins were Zeta Corp's elite security force, individuals who had been implanted with combat memories from the most lethal soldiers, spies, and killers in history. They could access centuries of fighting experience in an instant, making them nearly unbeatable in direct confrontation. I've developed this, Van Lay replied, holding up a small device. A neural disruptor that temporarily blocks access to implanted memories. It won't harm them permanently, but it will reduce them to their base skills for about 30 seconds. 30 seconds isn't much time, Min observed. It's all we'll get, Van Lay said grimly. This plan has to work perfectly, or we all die, and Helena Zeta becomes something beyond human. That night, as the others made final preparations, Min found Bing alone in a corner of the laboratory, modifying her neural interface. What are you doing? He asked. Insurance, she replied without looking up. If things go wrong tomorrow, I want to make sure Lin Mei's breakthrough doesn't die with us. She finished her adjustments and turned to face him. I'm encoding the key elements of her research into my own neural patterns. Even if they capture me, they won't think to look there. That's incredibly dangerous, Min warned. Self-modification of neural interfaces can cause permanent damage. Bing smiled sadly. We're about to attack the most powerful corporation in Neo-Elysium. I think we're past worrying about safety. Min sat beside her. Why are you doing this, Bing? You could have turned me away when I showed up with the stolen memory. You'd be safe. I've spent years watching people lose themselves to the memory trade, she replied, her cybernetic eyes dimming slightly. Addicts who sell too much of themselves. Victims of unethical traders. People who can't afford the rent on their own memories. Someone needs to fight back. She hesitated, then added more softly. And there's something I haven't told you or Van Le. I've been scanning Lin Mei's core memory at a deeper level than either of you realized. There's something hidden there. Something personal. What do you mean? Lin Mei wasn't just researching memory storage. She was investigating Zeta Corp specifically. Her private notes suggest she was looking for someone whose core memory she believed had been taken by the corporation. Who? Bing looked directly at Min. Her mother, a researcher who disappeared while working for Zeta Corp on a classified project. Dr. Van Le? Min guessed. No, Bing replied. My mother, Dr. Chaofei. She vanished 8 years ago while developing early prototypes of the memory transfer technology. I've been searching for her ever since. Min stared at her in shock. You think she's one of the core memories Zeta Corp has harvested? I think Lin Mei found evidence that she was, Bing said, her voice tight with emotion. And that's why Helena Zeta took Lin Mei, to silence her and steal her research in one move. Why didn't you tell us this before? Because I wasn't sure if I could trust Van Le, Bing admitted. She worked for Zeta Corp when my mother disappeared. For all I know, she could have been involved. Min absorbed this new information, understanding now why Bing had agreed to help him so readily. This wasn't just about stopping Helena Zeta's Immortality project. For Bing, it was personal. We'll find the truth, he promised. And if your mother is in there, we'll get her back. The next day, they approached Zeta Corp Tower, not as infiltrators, but as ordinary citizens, dressed in the bland corporate attire that was standard throughout Neo-Elysium. Van Le had aged her appearance further, with cosmetic adjustments, making herself unrecognizable to casual observation. The tower rose a kilometer into the sky, its upper levels disappearing into the perpetual clouds that hung over the city. The building's exterior was covered in memory glass, a specialized material that displayed selected memories of those who had contributed to Zeta Corp's research, creating a constantly shifting mosaic of human experience. They entered through the public lobby, a vast space filled with interactive displays showcasing the benefits of memory technology. Advertisements promised everything from enhanced learning through memory implantation to emotional optimization by replacing traumatic memories with pleasant ones. Memory is life. Zeta Corp is forever, proclaimed the company's slogan, displayed prominently above the security checkpoints. Van Le approached a specific terminal away from the main security stations. She inserted an old identification chip and entered a lengthy code. After a tense moment, the terminal flashed green, and a hidden door slid open beside it. Maintenance access, she whispered. My old codes still work for the basic systems. They slipped through the door into a utility corridor used by the building's service staff. Here, the gleaming perfection of the public areas gave way to practical efficiency, bare walls, exposed conduits, and minimal surveillance. Memory Officer Zhang Hao will meet us on Sublevel 3, Van Le said, leading them to a service elevator. That's where the security monitoring systems are housed. From there, we can access the memory core. The elevator descended smoothly into the depths beneath the tower. When the doors opened on Sublevel 3, they found themselves facing a man in the distinctive uniform of a Zeta Corp memory officer, black, with silver neural patterns embroidered across the shoulders and chest. Dr. Van Le, he said formally, his expression carefully neutral. It's been a long time. Too long. How? She replied. Thank you for agreeing to help us. Zhang Hao's eyes moved to Min and Bing. These are the fugitives Zeta Corp has been hunting? The memory terrorist and the illegal hacker. They're trying to prevent a catastrophe, Van Lay corrected. Helena Zeta is violating every ethical principle of memory science. She's harvesting core memories from unwilling subjects. Zhang Hao's composure faltered. That's a serious accusation. Do you have proof? Min carefully removed Lin Mei's memory unit from his concealed pouch. This is the core memory of Lin Mei, a graduate student who disappeared 3 days ago. Her entire consciousness is trapped in this cylinder. The officer studied the memory unit, then used his official scanner to verify its contents. His face paled as he reviewed the data. This cannot be legal, he said finally. Even with our special research exemptions, extracting a complete core memory would require explicit consent and extensive documentation. Helena has 11 more just like it, Van Lay said urgently. She's building a network to house her consciousness, using Lin Mei's breakthrough in neural synchronization. If she succeeds, she'll become something unprecedented, a distributed human consciousness that could potentially live forever by continually harvesting new cores. Zhang Hao was silent for a long moment, his training as a Zeta Corp officer warring with his ethical principles. Finally, he nodded decisively. I'll help you access the memory core, he said. But we need to move quickly. Helena is in the building today, overseeing the final integration phase personally. He led them through a series of security checkpoints, using his officer credentials to bypass the most stringent measures. Bing connected discreetly to the building's systems through hidden access points, planting specialized code that would allow her to control the security protocols when needed. As they descended deeper into the facility, the temperature dropped noticeably. The memory core required extreme cooling to maintain optimal conditions for the sensitive neural technology it contained. The core is protected by 2 memory assassins at all times, Zhang Hao explained as they approached the final security barrier. I can get us inside using my clearance, but once we begin interfering with Helena's project, they'll attack immediately. We're prepared, Van Loo assured him, touching the neural disruptor concealed in her sleeve. Zhang Hao placed his hand on the security scanner, and the massive doors to the memory core slid open. The space beyond was unlike anything Min had ever seen, a spherical chamber 100 meters in diameter, with a central platform surrounded by concentric rings of memory storage units. Each ring rotated slowly in a different direction, creating a hypnotic, galaxy-like effect. The entire structure pulsed with soft blue light, synchronized to what Min realized was a heartbeat rhythm. In the center of the platform stood Helena Zeta herself, a tall, elegant woman whose neural interface was so advanced it was barely visible, appearing as a subtle silver tracery across her temples. She was surrounded by holographic displays showing the integration progress of the 12 core memories. And as Zhang Hao had warned, 2 memory assassins flanked the platform, men whose neural interfaces covered their entire heads in intricate patterns, allowing instantaneous access to centuries of combat experience. Officer Zhang, Helena called out, not looking up from her displays. You're not scheduled for core duty today. Forgive the interruption, Madam Zeta, he replied smoothly. I've brought Dr. Varen from the Orbital Research Division to observe the integration process. Her team is developing similar technology for the Mars Colony project. Helena finally looked up, her eyes narrowing as she studied the group. For a moment, Min thought their deception had worked. Then her expression hardened. Dr. Van Le, she said coldly, you've changed your appearance, but not your neural signature. How disappointing to see you've aligned yourself with terrorists. Her gaze shifted to Min. And you brought the memory thief directly to me. How convenient. The memory assassins moved with frightening speed, positioning themselves between Helena and the intruders. Van Le reacted immediately, activating the neural disruptor. A high-pitched whine filled the chamber as the device emitted its specialized frequency. The assassins faltered, their movements suddenly clumsy, as their access to implanted combat memories was temporarily blocked. Zhang Hao seized the opportunity, tackling one to the ground, while Min engaged the other. Bing sprinted toward a secondary control console, her fingers flying across its surface as she initiated the code she'd planted in the building's systems. Alarms began blaring, but instead of summoning security to the memory core, they triggered evacuation protocols throughout the tower. "What have you done?" Helena demanded, her composure cracking as the tower's systems turned against her. "Created a diversion," Bing replied with grim satisfaction. "Every security officer in the building now believes there's a catastrophic memory containment breach on the executive levels. They'll be evacuating everyone except us." Van Le moved to the central platform, analyzing Helena's integration system. "It's nearly complete," she said urgently. 11 core memories already synchronized, waiting only for Lin Mei's breakthrough to stabilize the network. Min managed to subdue his opponent, just as the neural disruptor's effect began to fade. He quickly applied restraints, then joined Van Le on the platform. The memory units were arranged in a circle, each glowing with the distinctive white light of a core memory. In the center was an empty cradle, clearly meant for Lin Mei's unit. "Can we reverse the process?" Min asked. "Restore these people?" Van Le's expression was grim as she examined the integration network. "Their original bodies are likely dead by now, but we can free their consciousnesses from Helena's control, prevent them from becoming part of her network." "Do it," Min urged, keeping a wary eye on Helena, who stood watching them with cold fury. "You have no idea what you're destroying," Helena said, her voice eerily calm despite the chaos. "I'm not just seeking personal immortality. I'm evolving humanity to its next stage. Imagine consciousness freed from the limitations of a single body, able to experience multiple perspectives simultaneously." "At the cost of murdering innocent people," Bing shot back, joining them on the platform. "Including my mother. She's here, isn't she? One of your cores." Helena smiled thinly. "Dr. Xiaofei? Of course. I should have recognized you. Xiaobing. You have her talent for neural manipulation." She gestured to one of the memory units. "Yes, your mother is part of my collection. She discovered too much about the project, just as Lin Mei did years later." While they spoke, Van Le worked furiously at the integration controls, attempting to disrupt the synchronization process without damaging the core memories. Zhang Hao had secured both assassins and now stood guard at the entrance to the core. "Helena," Van Le said without looking up from her work, "what you're attempting violates everything we worked for. Memory technology was meant to help people, not consume them." "Help people?" Helena laughed bitterly. "It was always about power. Van Le, the power to control what people remember, to shape their very identities. I'm simply taking it to its logical conclusion." "By becoming a parasite," Min said with disgust, "feeding on stolen consciousnesses." Helena's expression darkened. "Enough of this. You think I wouldn't have contingencies?" She touched a hidden control on her wrist, and the chamber's lights flashed red. "Complete neural lockdown initiated? In 30 seconds, a specialized memory virus will be released into this chamber. It will erase the neural patterns of everyone present, except me. I've been immunized." Van Le worked even more frantically at the controls. "She's not bluffing. The system is preparing to release a targeted neural wipe." "Can you stop it?" Min demanded. "Not in time," Van Le replied grimly. "But I can repurpose it." Her fingers danced across the controls, making rapid adjustments. "Instead of targeting us, I'm redirecting it to attack the integration network itself." Helena lunged toward her, but Min intercepted, grappling with the CEO as Van Le completed her modifications. A high-pitched tone filled the chamber as the memory virus was released. But instead of attacking their neural interfaces, it surged into the integration network. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The synchronized memory units began to pulse erratically, their smooth white glow becoming unstable. Helena screamed, clutching her head as her own neural interface, connected to the network, received feedback from the disruption. "What have you done?" she gasped, collapsing to her knees. "Freed them," Van Le replied simply. "The virus is breaking down the artificial synchronization pathways, releasing the core memories from your control." The memory units were now glowing with individual rhythms, each consciousness reasserting its unique identity. Van Le quickly began disconnecting them from the network, handling each with reverence. "We need to get these to a secure facility," she said urgently. "Without bodies to return to, these consciousnesses will need specialized care." Min handed her Lin Mei's memory unit from his pouch. "Complete the set." As Van Le carefully removed the last memory unit, Helena remained on the platform, her neural interface sparking with damaged connections. The mighty CEO of Zeta Corp looked suddenly small and ordinary, just another human afraid of death, willing to commit atrocities to avoid it. "Security will still come," Zhang Hao warned, checking the entrance. "The evacuation protocols won't distract them forever." "We're ready," Bing said, finishing work at the control console. "I've created an exit path through the maintenance systems. We can reach the surface without encountering security." They gathered the 12 memory units, each containing a complete human consciousness. Bing took special care with one particular unit, her mother's core memory, finally found after 8 years of searching. As they prepared to leave, Min looked back at Helena, still kneeling on the platform. "What about her?" he asked Zhang Hao. The memory officer considered for a moment. "I'll stay and explain what happened. With evidence of her crimes, even Zeta Corp's influence won't be enough to protect her. The company will survive, but its leadership will change." "And memory technology?" Van Le asked softly. "Will need to be reconsidered entirely," Zhang Hao acknowledged. "The ethical boundaries redrawn with greater care." They left Helena in the memory core, her immortality project in ruins around her. Navigating through the maintenance tunnels as Bing had planned, they emerged not into the chaotic evacuation of Zeta Corp Tower, but into a quiet service alley, several blocks away. Van Le led them to a waiting transport, a medical vehicle specially equipped to safely house the rescued memory units. "These consciousnesses can be sustained indefinitely in specialized support systems," she explained as they carefully loaded their precious cargo. "Eventually, we might develop synthetic bodies for them, or find a way to transfer them into willing hosts." "And my mother?" Bing asked, still holding her mother's memory unit. Van Le smiled gently. "Dr. Chaofei was working on consciousness transfer long before her disappearance. Her research, combined with Lin Mei's breakthrough, might provide a path forward. It won't be easy, but there's hope." As the transport prepared to depart for Van Lo's hidden laboratory, Min stood apart, watching Neo-Elysium's endless towers glittering in the perpetual dusk. The memory economy would be thrown into chaos by what they'd done today. Zeta Corp's influence would wane, and the truth about core memory harvesting would shake public confidence in the entire system. Bing approached him, her cybernetic eyes gleaming softly. "You're not coming with us, are you?" Min shook his head. "Someone needs to make sure the truth spreads. Someone needs to be the voice for those who lost themselves to the memory trade." "It will be dangerous," she warned. "Zeta Corp may fall, but the demand for immortality won't disappear. Others will try what Helena attempted." "I know," Min acknowledged, "but I'm a memory archaeologist. Preserving the truth is what I do." Bing hesitated, then pressed a small data chip into his hand. "I made a copy of Lin Mei's research. The ethical applications only. Use it wisely." She leaned forward and kissed his cheek. "Find me when it's over." The transport departed, carrying Van Le Bing and 12 liberated consciousnesses to safety. Min watched until it disappeared into the labyrinthine streets of Neo Elysium, then turned toward the city center. Above him, Zeta Corp Tower's memory glass exterior had gone dark for the first time in decades, no longer displaying the harvested memories of contributors. By morning, the news would spread throughout the city. The truth about core memories, about Helena Zeta's Immortality project, about the price of living forever. Min touched the neural interface at his temple, feeling its familiar pulse. In a world built on the commodification of memory, remembering had become the most radical act of all. And as he walked into the neon-lit streets of Neo Elysium, Min committed himself to ensuring that what had happened would never be forgotten. Not by him, not by the city, not by a humanity still learning the true value of its memories. The memory traders had set the price of immortality and stolen lives. But today, that price had finally proven too high.